Diablo 4 Season 14 Rogue build. I ended up as the strongest, top 3 Dance of Knives Poison Rogue on a solo self-find. And now I will share my entire build with you people and you're gonna check how it looks like. So let's not waste time and let's go. First and foremost, let's explain what's Dance of Knives Poison build and what are the pros and cons of the build. Con, the main one, it's not meta, and you cannot expect to go above pit 130 or above 125 in the tower. That also means that you can actually do the entire content and one-shot everything on Torment 12. Including all pinnacle bosses with Mephisto and Lilith. Also, what is the main con of this build? It's kinda squishy as every rogue is, okay? Even when I reached 11 to 12 million toughness during combat, I could still get one-shotted. That doesn't happen with other classes, especially not with classes like Barbarian, yeah. So those would be the two main cons. And what are the pros? Extremely fast build, extremely easy to play. You hold the right click and everything falls around you. Works exactly the same as Whirlwind, only I would say it's more fun because it's more flashy. It's extremely fast build. Perfect build to farm Escalations, to farm Helltide, but not so good for the Infernal Hordes because it's damage over time and most of the enemies will survive in those last 5 seconds, they won't drop. So the only bad content for this build is the actual Infernal Hordes. Everything else, absolutely amazing. Well, since we got that out of the way, let's check the build and let's begin, for example, with the Specialization. We want to use Inner Sight. I tested it with Preparation as well, but definitely the build works far better with Inner Sight because you're gonna have energy non-stop. That's the main reason, basically. As far as the Mercenaries go, we do Rahir into percentage to armor and counted enemies receive more damage from you. That's about it. For the support, we use Variana with, of course, Bloodthirst, extra damage, attack speed. This build profits a lot out of attack speed. Now let's cover Itemization. As I said, the build profits out of attack speed. The build also profits out of all damage multiplier, damage over time multiplier, poison damage multiplier, and vulnerable damage multiplier, as well as attack speed. Those would be the main stats that you want to search on items. As far as the crafting goes, nearly every single item in a game should have the imbuement potency as a crafted one, okay? Everywhere where you can put imbuement potency, you're gonna put imbuement potency. And that goes for gloves, all weapons, rings, and amulets. Now, as far as the helmet goes, how it was for me and how I started the build. Basically, I had luck and I found Arrow Perdition on my very first day in the game, and I was playing it for a long time with Arrow Perdition, and I can say that it acts and works amazingly well because you profit out of the movement speed. You're just way too freaking fast, nothing can touch you, okay? So that's what the Arrow Perdition is for, but definitely the thing that we aim for would be the Cowl of the Nameless. I switched multiple cowls during the game, and as I said, this is how it's supposed to look like. Whether it's Mythic, or Unique, or a Classic Unique, or Ancestral Unique, you gotta have a Cowl of the Nameless on this build. And that's the one we want to equip. You can see the stats on the cowl. What we want is the best transfigure that we can get, of course, but the imbuement to all skills is the one you're gonna ramp up on the blacksmith. As far as the armor goes, I was using this armor and I was using this armor. So this two, you can see the stats and you can see the aspect, damage reduction flat, and receive 15% less poison damage from enemies. Yeah. Or should I say enemies that you poison, you receive less damage from them. You poison non-stop. Stats, classic, dex, life. You can go with energy regen or with armor. All resists, crafting, flat life, and that's about it. 2 greens inside of it for decks. Very simple. For the gloves, now I used bunch of gloves. As you can tell here in the stash, there's like 1 million gloves, and all of them are pretty much similar. And what we're gonna use basically, dealing non-physical damage, increases attack speed, that would be the aspect on gloves. And as far as the stats go, all offensive stats. Now, whether that's gonna be damage over time, all damage, poison multiplier, it doesn't matter. As long as you got flat damage increase of any type, poison, classic over time, vulnerable, that's the thing you want. So those would be the gloves. Now, as far as the pens go, it's of course Shrouded Gift, whether it's gonna be a unique Shrouded Gift or an ancestral mythic unique Shrouded Gift, it really doesn't matter. What you need out of it is the passive, or should I say flat damage reduction, and of course the stats, dex, life, move speed, all resists, or any other resist that you need basically with life or crafting. I forgot to say the crafting on gloves if you didn't see here. It's of course Imbuement Potency. For the boots, the sick craft would be move speed, you want dex, life, all resists, armor, very simple. As far as the aspect goes, I went with marksman skill, they'll increase damage and immobilize an enemy. You can also go with defensive aspects, okay, when you go into stealth you heal and so on. It's also valid. I didn't find it that useful, I kinda went all in for damage on this build. Then, as far as the battle bow goes, now we got 2 options between battle bow and amulet for aspects. The first option is aspect of channeling goes on a bow or a crossbow, and the enemies take increased damage over time percentage goes on amulet as an aspect. And the other one would be you transfer the increased damage over time on a bow while you put channeling on the amulet. Have both and see what works better for you. I have a feeling that increased damage over time works better on a bow or a crossbow, while channeling works better on the amulet. And as far as the other stats go, I crafted 100, 200, 300 weapons, it doesn't even matter, bows and crossbows, and I tested everything out. From gem fragments to classic attack speed to I don't know what else I got here. Increased quality, imbue, maximum damage over time, their gem strength in the item as well. So I tested and tested and tested, and I ended up that actual item quality works the best if you can find a weapon with a star on damage over time multiplier and another damage over time stat like poison or flat, or for example increase all damage multiplier and so on. Those are the ones you want, and of course you want dex and life. Imbue potency for crafting, you ramp up 2 greens inside of it, and that's about it. Now I forgot to say what I was using for runes in helmet and pants, Buck and Vex, +1 to all skills, okay. The other one would be Puck and Ohm, Barbarian Warshout, 7.5% increased damage. Now, since we're done with the big weapon, this is kinda essential, okay. These 2 weapons, one would be Ashira's Kanjar, the other one would be Ethnala's Dagger. You start off with classic unique, then you go to ancestral, and then if you're lucky enough you're gonna find ancestral mythic unique, one out of these 2. Anyways, the most important one would be Ethna with imbuement skills, +2 all skills on imbuement. The rest are of course damage over time, dex that I never got, and you gotta get lucky with transmog as well. Okay, this is your damage out from Ethnala's Dagger. And the other one would be Ashira's Kanjar, another damage output. I said you profit out of attack speed and damage over time. Same stats apply like for Etna, damage over time, life, dex, all damage increase, poison damage increase, it doesn't matter as long as you have some of those. Now we transfer to amulet. Amulet, if you don't know how to craft amulet, I have it like I did it 5-6 times during this season. You have it on my videos on my channel, okay? And what we need is +2 all skills, +2 imbue, and the rest goes into all damage multiplier, vulnerable damage multiplier, damage over time multiplier, or poison damage multiplier, whatever you can get. Of course, it depends how lucky you are, but this is how amulet is supposed to look like. As far as other transmog goes, okay, the second one, I used Unstoppable. I was also using amulets like this. I was using with distant enemies, exactly the same amulet basically, okay? And I was using something like this as well, again exactly the same amulet, only this is one with a marksman skills to test, this one is with distant enemies to test, and this one would be with Unstoppable. Unstoppable is there for the distant enemies is there for Helltide and for Escalation dungeons, and this would be something in between with marksman skills. Okay, that's how things stand, that's what you need. Damage over time, all damage, blah blah blah, you get the point. That would be the amulet, and now we finish up with rings. Flat dex, all damage, vulnerable, poison, damage over time, imbue potency on those rings. We ramp up diamonds for resist all, and that's about it. For the aspect, we want, there are multiple ones you can take. You can take increased damage while having a barrier. You can take increased damage while fortified. You can take increased damage to vulnerable. All of those aspects work. And I was using increased damage during inner sight because it's a huge damage increase. We play on inner sight, and this is how I ramped up so freaking high in the pit, or should I say in the tower. And for the other ring, Shadow Clones with non-physical damage aspect, 60% flat increase, same stats apply on the other ring like on the first one, and that's about it. That would be the itemization. Now what about talismans? So we want imbuement to all skills on every single talisman. Okay, as you can tell here, everything is imbue. Pause when you need to check out stats and whatnot. So one would be of the Spellbound Steel, and you place 4, so they count as 5 once you find the, of course, Mythic Seal. You need a Mythic Seal for this. And the other one would be Battle of the Sightless. Concealment provides 60% more damage. Until you find the Mythic Seal, you play with a full Spellbound set, and basically you can go with Endurant Fate. Okay, it's extremely great. It's gonna provide you with this one will provide you with a lot of tankiness. So you equip 5 of Spellbound Steels and you go with Endurant Fate. That's how I played most of the time till I found the Mythic Seal for reduced number of set bonuses by 1. Again, we want imbue every single talisman. One is the Sightless, the other one is the Spellbound Steel as the main one. If you want damage instead of Endurant Fate, you can also opt in for Exposed Corroded Signet. And now let's check the famous skill tree. We skip everything from basic, we go down to the core skills, we take, of course, this is Dance of Knives build, and we're gonna take Star Shards. There are 2 versions of the build, so pay attention later about it. After we take Star Shards, we're gonna take Slow and Movement Speed, and we're gonna take Pierce and Size. Once we're done with core skills, we go down here to the Agility, and we're gonna take Dash into Primer, into Weaken, and we finish with Charges and Cooldown Reduction. Then we're gonna go down to the Subterfuge skills, and we're gonna take Concealment into Recuperate. Okay, we pick none of these when we have a Mythic Seal. Until we find a Mythic Seal, we're gonna pick Resolve, and we're gonna pick Ferocity. And of course, we play with Dark Shroud, the only defensive skill on a rogue, because there is nothing else. We're gonna pick Shadow Dancer, and we're gonna take Move Speed and Consume Chance. That's about it. Now, from the Subterfuge, we're going down into the Imbuement. This is bread and butter, we need all. We're gonna pick Poison Imbuement into Toxic Touch. We're gonna pick Shadow Imbuement into Endemic. We're gonna pick Cold Imbuement into Buffered Battery. We max out Poison first and 1 point into Cold and Shadow. With the remaining points, once you're full level and so on, you're gonna equally distribute between Cold and Shadow. Once we're done with the imbuement skills, we go to Ulti, we're gonna pick Shadow Clone, we're gonna pick Relentless with Weaken and Vulnerable and Cooldown Upgrade. And this is how we finish up the build. I said there is a second version of the build. Paragon remains the same, which I'll show, but what changes? This is for all content in the game. But once you decide to play the tower, in tower there is lower monster density, and this doesn't work for us, star shards. Okay, they just don't work for us anymore. Because again, lower amount of mobs. You benefit with huge amount of mobs like in the pit, but in the tower now we're gonna switch to the grenade jumper, because this is great single target damage on Dance of Knives, and on ulti, instead of Relentless, we're gonna pick Sentry. And this is the only change. Exactly the same itemization, same Paragon board, same talismans, same everything. We just switch 2 nodes and we push the tower with these 2. Once you play any other content, we go back, we switch to Relentless, and we switch the core skill into Star Shards. And that's about it. Now, for the Paragon. Pause when you want to, I'll be quick here. This is how it's supposed to look like on the first board. We're gonna put in the glyph that's called Efficiency. Then for the second board, this is how it looks like. The glyph would be Versatility, and we want Eldritch Bounty board. For the third board, we're gonna take Exploit Weakness, and we're gonna put Tracker. For the fourth board, we're gonna go with Dance Macabre as the board, and we're gonna go with Bane for the glyph. This is how it's supposed to look like. And for the final board, we're gonna go with Chip Shot, and we finish off with Kenny for the glyph. And that's about it. That would be the full Rogue Dance of Knives build. Extremely fun to play, extremely fast, a bit squishy, out of meta, but still capable of doing all content in a game except going above pit 130. But then again, things can change with the upcoming patches, with the next season and so on. Right now the meta for a rogue is Rain of Arrows and Ballista. Okay, while Dance of Knives is kinda weaker because it got nerfed, but it's still freaking good. You never know, it might get better. I loved it, and even if I'm gonna make a penetrating shot to push the pit higher, I'm still gonna come back to this build because it's 10 times better to play all other content in a game than any other rogue build. The reason: smooth, relaxing, fast. You want to farm, you want to acquire everything, this is the build you want to play with a rogue. Poison, Dance of Knives. Now, for the final part, a lot of you will ask how long it took to make a build. It says my playtime is 101 hours. My playtime is 80 hours. It took 80 hours. 20 hours are idle. Okay, for recording videos, making pauses, eating and so on. So 20 hours are idle. It took me 80 hours to finish this build. It took me 80 hours to become one of the strongest Dance of Knives on solo self-find in season 14, and I tested every single build variation. What I gave you is the absolute best, and I believe it's gonna be valid in the upcoming seasons as well, as long as you know what to do. If something changes, I'll update the video, of course. But for now, this is all I have to say about the build. Go with it, it's extremely fun. Thanks for watching.